and welcome to my learning session. My name is Arpan Banerjee. I am a research scholar at the Department of East Asian Studies, University of Delhi, and academic counselor at IGNOU. And I welcome you all to today's class. I have been teaching you the paper Administrative System at the State and District levels, and the code of this paper is BPSC 134. So let us begin today's class from where we had left off in the last class. So we have been discussing, as a part of this paper, we have been discussing the second block of this paper, which is related to the administration and democracy at the state and district level in India. And as part of that, we have already discussed 4 units. We have discussed 4 units. We have discussed the constitutional profile of state administration. And in the last class, we had discussed about the state secretariat, the organization and functions of the state secretariat, as well as the patterns of relationship that exists between the secretariat and the directorates. In today's class, we are going to focus on the state services as well as the state public service commissions. Also, we will be focusing on the state planning board as well, the state services and state public service commissions, as well as the state planning board also. These are the topics on which we are going to focus in today's class. So let us begin by discussing the 5th unit of this second block, that is the State Services and State Public Service Commission. That will be the first unit that we'll discuss in today's class, relating to the State Services and the State Public Service Commission. So let us first discuss what do we mean, what do we refer when we say that when we use the term state services, what do we mean? So state services, it refers to the civil service that exists at the state level or at the provincial level. There is an all India services that we have already discussed. And after that, there is a provincial services, which is called the state services. So the civil service, it refers to the civilians that are employed by the government at the state level. And it distinguishes the civilian pursuits that are there in the government from the military pursuits. So that is why it is called the civil service, because the civil service employs civilians and not military personnel. In addition, we can say that the civil service, it is a career service. And in this regard, elective officials and employees of semi-government bodies, they do not form part of the civil service. Because the civil service is a career service, hence elected officials or employees who are part of semi-government bodies, they do not form a part of the civil service. They are distinct from the civil service. Also, an essential ingredient of the civil service concept is the concept of merit. A civil service is based on the merit system. Now, what do we mean by the merit system? So basically, a merit system, it means selection which is based on ability, where the personnel are selected on the basis of their ability, and that ability is adjudged by an open competitive examination for civil services jobs that takes place in our nation as well. The Union Public Service Commission conducts it at the All India level once in a year, which consists of the preliminary and the mains and the interview exams. The State Public Service Commission, it conducts these examinations, open competitive examinations, in order to select civilians on the basis of their merit and their ability. The State Public Service Commissions of the respective states, they conduct it at the state level. So now, a very important hallmark of this merit system that we have been talking about is an independent recruiting agency. So the existence of an independent recruiting agency is very important for this merit system to function efficiently. That is why at the all India level we have the Union Public Service Commission, and at the state level we have the state public service commissions. So we have already discussed the Union Public Service Commission in the previous paper that we have done, which was regarding the administrative system at the union level. However, in this paper, we are going to discuss the State Public Service Commission, and which is responsible for the state level recruitment. The functions of the State Public Service Commission, one can say, is quite similar to that of the Union Public Service Commission, but the only difference is that the State Public Service Commission, it functions at the provincial level, at the state level, and the Union Public Service Commission, it functions at the all India level. That is the only difference. Everything else is quite complementary. So the executive branch, it has been divested of the powers of making recruitment to the civil services, and a separate agency has been created for this purpose, for the purpose of recruitment to the civil services. And this agency that has been created, it is an extra departmental body, which means it is a commission. And this commission, it functions outside the normal machinery of the government. And also, we can say that a constitutional status has been conferred on this agency. The State Public Service Commissions as well as the Union Public Service Commission, they have a constitutional status. They are constitutional bodies, and they are extra departmental bodies also. That is, they are commissions, and they function outside the normal machinery of the government. Hence, in our country, the executive branch has been divested of the powers of making recruitment to the civil services, and a separate agency has been created for that purpose. And this agency or this commission that has been created, it is not only a recruitment agency. It is not an appointing authority, but it is only a recruitment agency. So this commission is only a recruitment agency, and it is not an appointing authority. The appointment is done by the executive only. Only the recruitment is done by the commission, which has been created and which has a constitutional status also. Now let us discuss the need for this type of a commission type of organization. What was the need for a commission type of organization? Let us discuss that. So when a commission consisting of experts, it meets to deliberate on issues, professional and technical criteria, they receive a lot of weightage in the decisions that they take. When a commission which consists of experts relating to that field, when they deliberate on specific issues, professional and technical criteria, that is given a lot of emphasis, which benefits that the policy that is then formulated. So when several heads combine for deliberation, the biases that their individual biases that may exist, those biases get cancelled out, and what is ensured is objectivity. Objectivity prevails. That is a very important thing. And since a commission, it functions outside the mold of normal governmental machinery, we can say that greater flexibility and innovativeness also, that also is possible. And that is why through a commission, bureaucratic rigidities and delays which normally characterize government departments, that can be kept at bay, that can be avoided through a commission. And also expert advice on professional and technical criteria, that also can be obtained, and the individual biases of members can be cancelled. And a very important thing is objectivity, that also can be ensured, and bureaucratic rigidities and delays, which are normally the characteristics of government departments, they also can be avoided. Now let us discuss what is the significance of the constitutional status that has been conferred upon the commission. What is the significance of this constitutional status that has been conferred? So this constitutional status that has been conferred on the state public service commissions, it has been done. It is intended to ensure that this commission it functions without fear or favor. So that is the purpose why constitutional status has been granted to the commission, so that it can work without any fear or favor. And this intention, it would only be facilitated when the composition of the commission, the rule, as well as the delegations and privileges of its members, and also the methods of appointment and removal, and also the qualifications for appointment of its members, only when these are constitutionally provided, only then we can ensure that this commission it can function without fear or favor. So every aspect of this commission, of this state public service commission, it is constitutionally provided, just like in the case of UPSC also it is constitutionally provided. In the case of state public service commissions also, the composition of the commission, its roles and delegations, the privileges that its members enjoy, the methods of appointment and removal of its members, also the grounds for qualification and appointment as well as removal, everything has been enumerated in detail in the Constitution of India. And under such a situation, the executive branch of the government that can no longer exercise any discretion in these matters, as it can be observed in other appointments. In the appointment to the state public service commissions and the union public service commission, the executive branch it cannot exercise any sort of its own discretion, and hence the commission it can function without being influenced in any way by the executive branch. Hence, conferment of constitutional status, it is basically like a safeguard against any possible encroachment on the authority and independence of the commission. Now let us see some of the components of civil service at the state level. So the civil service at the state level is composed of two distinct components. One is the state services and the other is the All India services. So the All India services, let us discuss first the All India services, which are there at the state level also. So they were constituted, these All India services were constituted with a crucial purpose of creating an elite corps of officers. So that was the purpose of constituting All India services, to create an elite corps of officers who would man the top positions in both the state as well as the center. And as we have already discussed, that the officers of the All India services, they are recruited by the union government through the Union Public Service Commission. And upon their recruitment, each officer is allotted to a specific state cadre. And it is from these particular states that the concerned officer then moves to the central government. We have already discussed that. And we have also discussed the tenure system, right? The tenure system, it basically refers to the movement of officers from the state to the center and the arrangement under which such movement takes place. And the officer is moved back and forth between the state of his allotment and the center during the first 20 years of his career, his or her career, and finally lands up at the center. So these officers are belonging to the All India services. They operate under the joint control of the center and the state to which they are allotted. So these All India services, they have to supply the personnel for all the superior administrative posts in the states and also at the district level and above. Hence, we have already discussed the posts of the district collectors. They all belong to the All India services. The divisional commissioners, the members of the Board of Revenue, the secretaries to the government, the chief secretary, they're all filled up by the IAS officers. Now let us discuss the state services. So the personnel belonging to the state services, they are recruited by their respective state governments through the state public service commissions or other agencies, but mostly they are recruited by the state public service commissions only. And the members of these services, they are primarily meant for services in their respective states only. And it is only on only occasionally that these a few members from these services, they can be borrowed by the center, but it happens very occasionally when they are borrowed by the center or by some other organization. And the states, they have well organized services to cater to the states have well organized services to cater to the needs of different sectors of the governmental activity in both non-technical as well as technical spheres. So now let us discuss what are the services that a typical state may have. So typically, a state may have these following services. So the first is the administrative service. Every state has that, followed by the police and the judicial services. Afterwards, in states, we also have the forest service. There is the agriculture service. There are educational and medical services as well as fisheries services also. And there's an engineering account service as well. Also, there is a service for the prohibition and excise. And finally, there is a cooperative service as well to look after the functioning and operation of the cooperatives, state level cooperatives. Now let us discuss some of the interrelationships as well as interlinkages. So the personals belonging to these state services, they have to operate in subordination to their superiors who are members of the All India services. And the state services, they occupy the lower position in the administrative hierarchy than those which are held by the personnel of the All India services. And these state services that we are discussing in this unit, they constitute the middle level of the state administrative system with the All India services above them. However, there has been an attempt that has been made to evolve from out of those two sources of supply a common stream, and this has been achieved in two ways. The first way in which this common stream has been created is by providing opportunities to the state services personnel to rise to higher posts also, and which are normally reserved for the All India services officers, and inducting a certain percentage of state service personnel also into the All India services. That also takes place. Now let us discuss the classification of the state services. So when we discuss the classification of state civil services, the first thing that we discuss is classification based on pay scales. So there is a classification based on pay scales as well that exists. And at the state level, the Group A and Group B services, they constitute the officers class of the state level services. So the Group A and Group B services, they together constitute the officers class of the state level services. And when we talk about the Group C and Group D, they constitute of the clerical employees as well as the manual workers also. So Group A and Group B consist of the officers class of the state level services, and Group C and Group D consist of the clerical employee and manual workers. Now let us discuss the Group A services. So the Group A services, they include a number of posts on the basis of basic pay scales. And each departmental service, they ordinarily have a Group A cadre only. And the recruitment to this Group A post, it is based on the basis of promotions from Group B services as well. And it is also, this recruitment, it also takes place through direct recruitment as well from the state public service commissions as well. So there are two ways to which recruitment to Group A posts take place, as we can see. One way is through promotion from Group B, and the second way is through direct recruitment by the State Public Service Commission. So this direct recruitment, it takes place on the basis of an open competitive examination that takes place every year, and this includes a written examination followed by a personality test. Now let us discuss the Group B services. So these Group B services, they are of a specialized nature, and there are some generalist services also in this category, but mostly the services belonging to the Group B, they are of specialized nature, and they are called the subordinate civil services and the subordinate police service as well. And the Group B, its services are lower in status and responsibilities than those of the Group A. Now, moving on, there is another classification. We have already discussed the classification based on pay scales. After this, there is a classification which is based on gazetted and non-gazetted. So there are certain gazetted officers and there are certain non-gazetted as well. So the second system of classification that we are discussing here, which is used for employment to the state services, it places them under this category of gazetted and non-gazetted. So a gazetted government servant is one whose appointment, transfer, promotion, as well as retirement, they are all announced in the official gazette in a notification that is issued by the order of the governor of the state. And a gazetted officer holds an office only, and a gazetted officer not only holds charge of an office, also his or her duties are of a supervisory or directorial nature. So mostly gazetted officers, they hold charge of certain offices and their duties are of a supervisory or directorial nature, and everything related to their appointment, to their transfer, promotion and retirement, everything is announced in the official gazette in a notification that is issued by an order of the governor of that particular state. And these gazetted officers, they hold charges of respective offices, and also their duties are of a supervisory or directorial nature. So the gazetted posts, they include the All India services as well as Group A and Group B state services. However, under Group B services, all officers are not gazetted posts. For example, the police head constable is not a post which is a gazetted post, as well as the post of head clerk or section heads, the post of a junior engineer. These are not gazetted. So only some of the posts under Group B are gazetted and not all. And all the posts in the Group C as well as Group D are non-gazetted posts. Now let us discuss some of the features of recruitment to state civil services. So there are three separate but interconnected steps that are involved in the recruitment to state civil services. The first step is that of attracting eligible candidates to apply for jobs. So in this step, vacancies are brought to the notice of the interested individuals through advertisements. Now in the second step, candidates are selected for jobs through an open competitive examination, which we have already discussed. And after this step, the selected candidates, they are placed in appropriate jobs, which also involves issuance of appointment letters to those who have been selected by a competent authority. Now let us discuss some of the features of the State Public Service Commission. So the recruitment to these state civil services, they are made usually at the age of 21. And let us take the example of the state of Haryana. So in the case of Haryana and the Haryana civil services, the upper age limit for the unreserved category is 42 years, except for the post of Deputy Superintendent of Police, which is 27 years. Age relaxation, it is made available for members belonging to the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes, and also to those candidates belonging to the backward community. And also age relaxation is availed to candidates who are unmarried, to the unmarried female candidates, and also to physically challenged, and also to the persons with disabilities. They are availed age relaxation in the state of Haryana. And in the state of Haryana, the recruitment is made through an open competitive exam that is supervised and administered by the State Public Service Commission. And the higher level posts, they are filled up by promotion. And these vacancies to be filled up, these vacancies are advertised by the State Public Service Commission only every year. And applications are invited from candidates all over the country, not only from that particular state, but candidates from all over the country can apply. Now let us see some of the minimum qualification. The minimum qualification to apply is a bachelor's degree from a recognized university, and there is a competitive examination through which these selections are made. For example, in the state of Haryana, the Haryana Civil Service Examination, it is conducted in 3 stages, and a candidate has to clear each stage to appear in the next stage. And the marks that are secured by each candidate in the written examination and personality test, they are totaled up, and depending upon the number of vacancies, a list of successful candidates is finally prepared, which is in the order of merit. So this is the procedure through which personnel to the state public services are selected. Now let us discuss some of the constitutional provisions regarding the State Public Service Commission. So the Article 315 of the Constitution of India, it provides for the establishment of the Public Service Commissions, and it also stipulates that there shall be a Public Service Commission for the Union as well as a Public Service Commission for each state. And there is also a provision for the creation of Joint Public Service Commission for 2 or more states if both those states acquiesce to the creation of such a commission. If both of them request, then there can be a Joint Public Service Commission as well for 2 states also. However, that is a temporary arrangement. So, Article 316 of the Constitution of India, it is from this article that we get the composition of these commissions, the UPSC as well as the SPSC. So, it also deliberates on the method of appointment of the chairperson as well, and the members of these commissions as well as their terms of office. And Article 316, it stipulates that the normal tenure of a chairperson and a member, it shall be of certain years. That has been given in the Article 316 of the Constitution. It has clearly stipulated what will be the normal tenure of the chairperson of these commissions. And after this, Article 317, that has prescribed the grounds and the procedures for early termination of the tenures of these officials and the members of the Union Public Service Commission as well as the State Public Service Commissions. Article 318, 19 and Article 322, Article 318, Article 319 as well as Article 322. If you see these articles, they provide measures for safeguarding as well as fostering the independence of the Union Public Service Commission as well as the State Public Service Commissions. Now, what will be the scope and duties as well as the functions of the Public Service Commissions? What will be the overall sweep of their role as recruiting agencies? These matters, the duties and functions, the overall sweep of their role as recruiting agencies, these are dealt with under the Article 320, 321 and 323 of the Constitution. So under 323, there is a provision for submission by the Commission of an annual report. So the Commission has to submit annual report in which the cases where government has rejected its advice, these cases are recorded, and the reasons are also mentioned for the non-acceptance of such advice. Now, if we look at the composition and functions of the Commission, we will see that the number of members which a state PSC may have, that is not fixed, and it is determined by the governor of the concerned state according to the Constitution. And at least half of these members of the commissions, they are persons who have a minimum of 10 years of experience under the central or the state government. And these members are appointed for a term of 6 years until the age of 62 at the state level. And it is the governor who is the appointing authority of the members of the State Public Service Commission. But it is also a very important thing to note that these members can be removed only by the president and not by the governor. So the governor is only the appointing authority, but in order to remove them, only the president can remove. And the conditions of service of the members are determined by the governor. But one thing that we must note very importantly, that the constitution, it has stipulated that these are not to be revised to their disadvantage. So when these members are holding office, the conditions of their employment cannot be revised to their disadvantage. Now let us see some of the functions of the commission. So one very important function of the commission is to tender advice to the state government on matters which are referred to the state government by the governor. And also this commission, the state level public service commissions, they also perform certain additional functions as well, which are provided to them by the state legislature. And these functions may be with respect to the service of a local authority or other corporate bodies as well. The State Public Service Commission also has to perform certain additional functions as well, which are entrusted to it by the state legislature. And as we have already discussed, that the State Public Service Commission has to annually present a report regarding their work, and this report has to be presented to the governor. Now this commission, it plays a very important advisory role also, and it gives advice to the government on certain matter. However, the government is not obliged to act on that advice. It is not an order, it is only an advice. Hence, the commissions, they also play an advisory role as well. There are certain safeguards also in order to ensure the independence of the state level commission. So the some of those these have been put in as a check against the possible abuse of power. Hence, the appointing and removing authority are different. So the appointment power and the removal power, the authority to appoint and remove, that has been entrusted to different functionaries. And while the power to appoint the chairperson and members of this commission, that power has been vested with the governor, but the power of removal is vested only with the president. And the removal, it can only be effected in the manner and grounds which is prescribed in the Constitution of India. And as I have already discussed, that once they have been appointed, their salaries and other service conditions cannot be altered to their disadvantage. So that is a very important thing to safeguard their independence. And also certain disabilities have also been imposed on the chairperson and members of the commission with respect to their future employment also under the government. And once they cease to hold office, they are not eligible to hold office under the government, or so that is a very important disability that has been imposed upon them. And they can be removed only in a manner that has been prescribed in the Constitution of India. And so that is why we see that there are so many measures to safeguard their independence of the members of these state public service commissions, as well as that of the chairman as well of the State Public Service Commission. However, we see that there have been certain criticisms also which have been labeled against them, against the government. So some of the criticism is that at the state level there are many ad hoc appointments that take place without the prior consultation of the State Public Service Commission. And there are certain posts, there are certain category of posts which are excluded from the purview of the Public Service Commission. And the advertisement that are drafted by the concerned departments for the filling up of vacancies, so these are drafted to suit particular candidates which the department may want to appoint. So that also takes place many of the times. And the members of these commissions, they have also drew flack. It has been alleged that many people with insufficient credentials and political affiliations, they have been appointed to these commissions. So these are some of the criticisms. So also there is a predominance of members from the official category. Hence, it has been alleged that the membership of the commission, it has a very narrow base. So that is also there. And also professionals, they have been inadequately represented in these commissions. So professionals belonging to different professions like that of science and technology, medicine, engineering, teaching, law, they have been inadequately represented on these commissions. Now moving on to our next unit, that is Unit 6 of our paper, that is concerned with the State Planning Board. As we all know that India's commitment to planned socio-economic development is a reflection of the government's determination to improve the social and economic conditions of its citizens through a variety of social, economic as well as institutional means. So this has been envisaged in the directive principles of the state policy in our constitution, and the government of India has been, as well as the government of the states, they have been entrusted with the responsibility, with the duty by the constitution of our nation to ensure socio-economic development of its citizens. So that is why, keeping that in mind, the state level planning boards have been created. And at the state level, it was felt that planning departments, they require advice and support of eminent subject experts who have certain specialized competence. And in order to ensure this, the state planning board, state level planning board, they were created. And in order to ensure that the planning departments of the states, because planning is a very important aspect of socio-economic development of any nation, hence it was realized at the state level that the planning departments, they require the advice and support of subject experts who have who have specialized competence in the planning process. And that is why the second Administrative Reforms Commission, in its report, it said that the state planning boards, they should ensure that the district plans are integrated with the state plans. And also the second Administrative Reforms Commission, it also emphasized for making it mandatory for all states to prepare their development plans only after consolidating the plans of local bodies. So in the planning process, we can see that the following agencies, they have a very important role to play. One is the Niti Aayog, the other is the State Planning Board or Commission, and finally the district planning committees. So they formulate a plan keeping in mind the concept of decentralization. So they emphasize a lot on decentralized planning. Now let us discuss the planning system. As we have already discussed, that planning is a very significant aspect of the socio-economic development of any state. And in this regard, there is a need for close teamwork between the state and local government in the development and administration field. And if that takes place, only then we can ensure that there is rapid socio-economic development. Without teamwork, this cannot happen. So, when we talk about effective planned development, so this task, it has been carried out through systematic formulation as well as implementation and evaluation of plans. That is the responsibility of the central, state, as well as local governments. And at the state level, the planning department of every state is headed by the chief minister or by a cabinet minister, senior cabinet minister. So when we see the evolution of this state planning board, in the year 1992, a planning secretary was appointed in most of the states. So this planning secretary is also called principal planning secretary. So this secretary looks after the administration of the planning department, and all urgent important matters related to state planning are disposed at the administrative level by the chief secretary only. So we'll discuss the example of the state of Meghalaya when we will be discussing the state planning boards. We'll discuss with the state of Meghalaya. So in the state of Meghalaya, the planning administration, which is there in the secretariat, it deals with all matters relating to this establishment. And the planning machinery at the headquarter, as well as the district planning offices, which are under the control of the planning administration, which also deals with different matters that are relating to the state planning board, the district planning, as well as the development council, as well as the regional planning as well. And they also work towards resource and employment generation as well. So at the state level, the planning department, they coordinate all development activities of different development departments, comprising of the state plan as well as the centrally sponsored and central sector schemes. So in order to reinforce better performance of the planning machinery at the district level, the district planning organization is owned by the district planning officer. And this district office, it has been created in all districts under the deputy commissioner's office. So this is headed by the district planning officer. And there is a directorate of economics and statistics also in the state of Meghalaya, which falls under the administration of the planning department as well. And it is accountable for all economic and statistical information at the state level. Now let us discuss the example of the Kerala State Planning Board. So the Kerala State Planning Board, it was formed with a view to enable the state government to formulate development plans based on scientific assessment of the available resources. And the Kerala State Planning Board has facilitated effective planning as well as better implementation of developmental schemes. So let us now discuss the composition of these state planning boards. So in these state planning boards, there is a chairman in the state of Kerala, followed by a vice chairman, and after that there are certain members in this state planning board. So the first member is a minister for revenue and housing. Afterwards, there are different ministers for water resources, transport, as well as ports and museums, as well as archaeology and archives. And there are the minister for finance and non-ministerial members are also there, as well as 7 experts. And also there is a member secretary, and there are certain permanent invitees also to the state planning board. Now, who are these permanent invitees? They include the chief secretary of the government of Kerala and also the additional chief secretary of the finance department of the government of Kerala. And in the state of Kerala, we can also find the post of chief economic advisor that has been appointed by the Kerala government to advise this state planning board on different policy matters and subjects. And also a project financing cell has also been constituted in the planning board. So this was done to examine the feasibility of outside funding as well as public-private partnership as well in the different projects of the state government. So the Kerala State Planning Board, let us discuss its administrative structure. It comprises of the technical divisions, the administrative wing, as well as the district planning office and library. In the technical divisions, there is the agriculture division, the division for industry and infrastructure, the division for social services, the division for decentralized planning, as well as there is a evaluation division also to evaluate the work of this state planning board. Now, when we talk about the formulation of a plan, the state planning board, it is responsible for formulation of all the plans in the state. And in this regard, when we see the available resources, they are assessed to fix the size of the plan. And the state planning board, it issues circulars and instructions to all the secretaries and heads of department for submission of plan proposals to the board. When we talk about the performance of state planning boards in selected states, we have to take the example of Tamil Nadu also. In Tamil Nadu, the State Planning Commission has conducted special studies for formulation and implementation of planned projects and programs, and they have evaluated major planned schemes through Department of Evaluation and Applied Research, and they have also monitored the development indicators also, which influence the human development index as well as the gender development index, and they've done it at a disaggregated level. So also to monitor the state economy, a state balanced growth fund has also been created in the state of Tamil Nadu, and also to coordinate the function of the district planning cells, and the at the very block level, at the very village level, this state balanced growth fund has played a very important role. And through the Tamil Nadu innovation initiatives, there has been also state innovation funds that have also been created. Now let us see the structure of the development planning in Meghalaya. So in Meghalaya, the development planning, when we talk about development planning and its structure, it mainly includes the planning board at the state level, and also the district planning and development council, the DPDC, at the district level. And in 2004, in the state of Meghalaya, there was another level that was added to the planning organization that was called the Regional Planning and Development Council. And these are, however, non-functional. Now, in the state of Meghalaya, when we talk about the Meghalaya State Planning Board, that is the topmost planning advisory body in the state, and it is a consultative body. Its advices are not compulsory, and it only gives advices to the government regarding the formulation of plans. And the meeting of this board are fixed from time to time with the government departments to advise them in plan formulation as well as implementation of these plans. Let us see some of the major functions of these state planning board. So one of the major function of the state planning board is to arrange an inventory of obtainable as well as potential resources for the state capital. Also to advise the state government regarding the formulation of plans, as well as they also arrange a perspective plan for the most favorable and unbalanced utilization. So for favorable and balanced utilization of the state's resources, the state planning board, they also arrange a perspective plan as well for every state. And the state planning board, they also appraise the growth in the implementation of the schemes to identify the different factors which have been tending to retard socioeconomic development of the state. And so they do this to determine the circumstances that have to be formed for flourishing execution of plans. So when we evaluate the functioning of these state planning boards, it has been observed that in the state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu as well as in Meghalaya, in these states, the state planning boards or the state planning commissions are working very effectively. And in the state of Punjab, the Punjab State Planning Board, that has been making suggestions regarding the approach to various plans and has been drafting them as well. And in these states, these state planning boards, they suggest suitable measures for resource mobilization as well, and provide the state government with a long term vision for development. So they are playing a very important role in these states. However, in certain states like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Karnataka, and Odisha, there is a requirement to improve the working of these state planning boards. And for example, in Rajasthan, right from the very beginning, if we see, the bureaucratic support to the working of the state planning board, that has not been full-hearted. Rather, it has been half-hearted and lackadaisical. Now, what is the main reason behind this? The main reason behind this half-heartedness is the complacency of the political leaders as well as the bureaucrats with the existing governmental machinery. So, in the form of planning department. Now, what is needed is an effective monitoring through evaluation process, and this can be done through the state planning board only, which can help in resource mobilization as well as effective resource utilization. And the need of the hour is to give genuine accountability and status to the state planning boards. So genuine accountability as well as constitutional status needs to be conferred upon the state planning boards, and the specialization and proficiency that they can bring to their roles, that can help the state governments to increase rationality in their developmental process and also to increase their capacity also. So state planning boards, they have a very important role to play. So in this class we have discussed the state planning boards and the state public service commission, and we have discussed the evaluation of the state public service commission, the state planning board, how the state planning board it performs various functions like arranging the inventory of obtainable as well as potential resources from which state capital can be obtained. We have also discussed as part of the state planning board that a very important function that the state planning board performs is to arrange a perspective plan for the state. And in this plan, what they do is that they arrange the most favorable as well as the a way in which the most favorable and balanced utilization of the state's resources can be made. For that, they create a perspective plan. These state planning boards, hence they perform a very important role, a very significant task. And they also advise the government regarding the formulation of plans, these state planning boards, as we have discussed. And these state planning boards do another very important thing, that is they appraise the growth in the implementation of these schemes, and they also identify the factors which have been hindering the economic development of the states. And only by identifying these factors which have been hindering the economic development of the states, these state planning boards, what they do is that they determine the circumstances which need to be formed for the flourishing execution of these plans that they help formulate. And also another function that they do is that they take up certain other studies as well, which is assigned to them by the state government. So they perform certain additional functions as well from time to time, and they make appropriate recommendations based on their study to the state governments. And we also discussed that how these state planning boards have been working in different states, how in the state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu and Meghalaya, when we analyze these state planning boards, they are working very effectively. And also in the state of Punjab, also the state planning board, it has been making suggestions from time to time regarding approach to various plans, how to draft these plans, and also how to balance the resources as well as socioeconomic needs of the state of Punjab, and also how to evaluate the plans as well as the project, also regarding government expenditure, how to use that in the most prudent way. And the state planning board has been suggesting very crucial measures also for effective resource mobilization in the state of Punjab. And in these states, when we see in the state of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Meghalaya, and Punjab, the planning boards, they have been providing a vision for the long term development of these. And there are certain states like Karnataka, Odisha, and Bihar, as well as Rajasthan, where a lot of effort is required to improve the functioning of these state planning boards. Now let us just take the example of Rajasthan. Why is it that the in the state of Rajasthan, the state planning boards have not been able to work that efficiently as they have worked in the states of Meghalaya, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu? The reason is that right from the very beginning in Rajasthan, right from the very beginning, the bureaucratic support to the working of the state planning board, that has been half-hearted and lackluster. So the state planning boards, they have not received full-hearted support from the bureaucrats of the state. That is why they have not been able to perform their function as efficiently as they would have if they would have received support from the bureaucrats. And also, the main reason why they have not the bureaucrats have not supported them, one of the main reason behind this is that there's a complacency of the political leaders as well as the bureaucrats with the existing governmental machinery in the form of the planning department. So they think that since the planning department is here, the state planning boards are not required. So that is why they've not been cooperating fully with the state planning boards. And if we see, we have discussed the functions of the state planning boards, and we have also discussed the performance of these state planning boards in different states. How in the state of Tamil Nadu, through the state planning boards, the state of Tamil Nadu has indeed monitored the factors, the indicators that influence their human development index as well as gender development index. And they have also conducted special studies for formulation as well as implementation of planned projects and programs. And they have also evaluated major planned schemes through the Department of Evaluation and Applied Research. And in this class today, we also discussed how the state planning board, how they play a very significant role in formulation of the state plans, how they advise the state government in the formulation of state plans, that we have also discussed. And how the state planning board in the state of Kerala, that issues circulars to all the different secretaries and heads of department for submission of plan proposals to the board. So they play a very important role, and they also coordinate with the Niti Aayog at the union level as well. So the function of coordinating with the center, and also of learning and incorporating certain elements from the best practices of other states as well, that is also done by the state planning board. And hence it is the responsibility of the administrative departments which are there at the secretariat of a state to obtain the approval of the concerned minister for the plan proposals. We have also discussed the different technical divisions that are there in a typical state planning board. And we have also discussed that how there is a chief economic advisor in every state planning board. So this was all about the state planning board that we have discussed, which is unit 6 of our syllabus. And in this class, we have also discussed the role of the State Public Service Commission. We've also discussed the role of the State Public Service Commission in this class, and how it plays a very crucial role in recruiting the personnel of the state services in the group A, B, C, and D. That we have also discussed the different classifications of personnel in the state services based on pay scale as well as based on gazetted and non-gazetted. So in the next class, since we have already done 6 units of this paper, in the next class we'll be discussing the State Finance Commission as well as the State Election Commission. We'll be discussing their different functions, their roles, as well as the importance of these the State Finance Commission as well as the State Election Commission. Since we are discussing administration at the state and the district level, we'll be discussing them in detail in the next class. And so thank you so much for joining today's class. Namaste.